It's good to have you back. Let's tell you about this now. Action SA has launched a system that will allow voters to, of course, appoint mayoral candidates. Now, we understand the new kid on the block will have to compete in the first local government elections, which are scheduled for later on this year. And the party was launched by former Johannesburg Mayor, that is Mashaba, just last year. And Party Chairperson Beaumont describes the system as an example of direct democracy. And he speaks to us right now, all the way from right here in Johannesburg. Michael, good to have you and good morning to you. Quite an interesting system here that you introduced, and tell me more about it.
Yeah, it is, and good morning. Thanks for having us on. And it's not just mayoral candidates, by the way, it's our ward candidates as well. You know, the system is premised on the people's dialogue. You'll know that Mashaba led a public engagement process after he left the city of Johannesburg, which solicited the views of 2.5 million South Africans. And one of the key outcomes of that discussion was direct democracy. South Africans are tired of giving their votes to political parties, who in turn give them the candidate it suits them to give the community, which invariably has not produced very good results in South Africa. South Africans want to vote directly for the people who represent them.
Yeah, and that's why you're saying this is, an example of direct democracy. In my understanding, it means that it's not only the members of Action SA who get to decide, but voters, South African voters in general.
Correct. So rather than having a kind of academic discussion around electoral reform, Action SA has taken on the approach of saying we're going to take candidate selection, which is typically done in smoke-filled rooms by politicians, and make them candidate elections, in which we invite members of the public, whether they are members of Action SA or not, to participate in elections to vote for our candidates.
And with that being said, take me through about some of the regions and areas, rather, and metros, if I could say, that you're targeting here. Michael, I know that Johannesburg is obviously one of them, Tshwane being the next. Any other region that we should know of?
And Ekurhuleni. That's where we'll be piloting these primaries as an unprecedented first in South Africa. And I think when we see how this goes and when we can build on the successes of these primaries, ahead of 2024, our commitment will be to roll this out countrywide.
So obviously this is going to be an online system. Just for clarity's sake, is it online where you have to log in and then place your vote?
It's going to be a hybrid system because not everyone is comfortable with online.
Yeah.
So we are going to encourage as much online voting as possible for obvious reasons, given the third wave and the level of infections in South Africa right now. But we will be opening physical voting centres around the metros. We will make those venues publicly available on our website and elsewhere, where people can go and vote physically if they're not comfortable with technology.
All right, then. We leave it there, but thank you so much. Quite an interesting, system that you're bringing here. Of course, that is Michael Beaumont from Action SA, the party chairperson, talking about how this is more of a direct democracy, an example of that at least. And we should be able to see how that goes, particularly for Action SA, where they're saying we're opening up the industry here. It's not only for members, but it's also for registered South African voters.